Ever since the Monsterverse trailer would have came out a couple of days ago, I have been seeing a lot of sentiments being thrown around on Twitter, specifically the sentiment that Monsterverse will end up like Astro Renaissance. And in today's video, I just wanted to have an in-depth conversation with you guys on why I think that this sentiment really needs to be stopped. I would just need to see things in a more positive light. Alright, hi, TT here, and today I just wanted to talk about the sentiment that people think that Monsterverse will end up exactly like Astro Renaissance. Alright, so before the video starts, please make sure to like and subscribe and follow all of my socials. They will be linked in the description. Without further ado, let me get into the video now. So as I would have said before in the intro, I just really wanted to talk about in today's video why a lot of people really thought that Monsterverse will end up like Astro Renaissance, and I kind of just wanted to get into the reasons why we really shouldn't be thinking about those lines. We really shouldn't be thinking along those lines as yet, or at all, as a matter of fact. Because, one, the game is not even out yet, so I really don't know where people are even getting this from. I'm pretty sure that's just people just saying it just to rile some people up, and even if that is all that is, there are some people that are genuinely convinced that just because a game that was worked by the exact same developers that worked on Astro Renaissance, that the exact same fate is going to happen inside of Monsterverse. And I just want to say that that is such an unrealistic look and an unrealistic take on how things usually go with these sorts of things, and it just really doesn't make sense to have that sort of outlook, because in my opinion, I really don't feel like people should be associating the failure of one thing to automatically think that the other thing will fail as well. I think that Astro Renaissance did lack in a lot of things, and as you guys would have seen in a lot of my videos, if you are new to the channel, I would have made a lot of videos on Astro Renaissance and a lot of the problems that it would have had inside of the game. I would have made a lot of videos of that. And one of the main reasons these problems are still inside of the game is because the game has been discontinued for a whole list of reasons. If you want to see those reasons, I will put that video of where I talk about it on the screen right now for you guys to see. But basically, if you guys do not want to see a whole list of reasons of why Astro Renaissance was discontinued, was because there was a lack of funds for the game. There was not that much things going inside of the game for the game to continue development. And as far as I know, Astro Renaissance did not have any sort of like Patreon or any sort of Ko-fi that was available for them to help the development of Astro Renaissance go. And as far as I know, the only form of payment that the developers and they were only getting was from people actually buying the game passes and stuff. And I could be wrong about that. Please correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. But if that truly was the case, then it does make sense why the development of the game just suddenly went to a very permanent halt. In order for players to be engaged inside of the game, constant updates needs to be happening inside of the game, and the game itself does need to be entertaining. I've talked about this in the past, but Astro Renaissance as a game itself, it is not one of those games that pulls you inside of the game and keeps you attached to the game like, oh my god, I'm going to be playing Astro Renaissance tomorrow. It is not one of those games that you just sit down and decide that you want to play it again. It's not one of those engaging games that reaches out to you and says, hey, I'm Astro Renaissance, let's play. It's just one of those games that just exists for the sake of existing, and one of those reasons is because of the lack of updates. Another reason that the game just wasn't populated was, I will extend on my previous point, there just really wasn't that much to do in the game. The mini games were okay, they were mediocre at best, but was it enough to keep you in the game? No, it wasn't. And as soon as you join the game, you aren't really given a direction as to what you're supposed to do. You're kind of supposed to just walk around the map and kind of figure out what you're supposed to do in the game. Which, if you guys know me, I absolutely love it when games give me direction. And when games do not give me a sense of direction of what I'm supposed to be doing inside of a game, oh, that is such a pet peeve I have. That is such a pet peeve that I hate about games. Even though there are some specific games that are okay when it comes to me like walking around and figuring out what I need to do. There are some games that take that premise and just drop you into the game without a single clue of what to do, and I hate being clueless inside of a game. I hate not knowing what to do inside of a game, and Astro Renaissance was one of those games. And I am saying this because Monsterverse is not going to be one of those games. Monsterverse is going to be a game where you have a tutorial, you have a set story that you need to follow. You are required to follow that step-by-step tutorial, that story mode that you are required to follow as a player before you actually get into the game. It is a requirement for you to go through that step-by-step process to learn and understand the game. And that, in my opinion, is a huge step up from what Astro Renaissance was trying to do with that game. One of the other reasons that Astro Renaissance wasn't getting that updated and a lot of things just were not happening inside of the game was because, if a lot of you guys were not aware, a lot of the developers inside of Monsterverse were the previous developers of Astro Renaissance. And since Astro Renaissance is quite an old project, a lot of the Monsterverse developers were actually minors. They were not to age to have the money to like fund the game themselves, and even if they did, it would not be that much. I believe one of the youngest members inside of the Astro Renaissance team at the time would have been like 13 or 14 or 15 years old, and the oldest member would have been 18. So this was an entire team full of little children trying to work on a very big game while things were going on inside of their lives. Like, they could have been going through a midlife crisis for all we know. We don't know that. All we know is that, hey, Astro Renaissance is not being updated. The game is dead. We never actually sit down to look inside to see, hey, what could actually be causing the problem for this game not to be updated? What could be the internal problem instead of looking from the outside and looking at the game itself? Why don't we actually look inside the game to figure out, hey, maybe it's not just the game, maybe it's what's going on outside of the game, and maybe it's because of that the game is not being updated. Because when you think about it, right, when you are a teenager, when you are like 14, 15, 16, 17, a lot of teenagers at this age would have a part-time job just to earn something at the side, just to earn a little side money on the side, just in case they wanted to save up for something. Just imagine you are a teenager working on a Roblox game, and what if you wanted to save up for something, and instead of saving up for what you wanted, all of that money just had to be put in out of pocket into a game which already has hundreds of dollars poured into it, with every single little thing costing money. A map expansion costing money, hairs inside of the game costing money, meshing, making an entire set inside of the game costs money. And not to mention that a lot of the developers outside of the development of Astro Renaissance, again, as I would have said, they were minors. Not all of the time all of these children are going to have the time to be consistently online to update the game, and that is something that the creator Alex would have said was a major problem inside of the development of Astro Renaissance. A lot of the major developers were not online to deal with the development of Astro Renaissance, and even if they were online, funds again is a problem. You're going to need to pay those developers to do certain things inside of the game. Like, this stuff is not free. Nothing is free, and that's why I say that a lot of people should not associate this with the development of Monsterverse, because all of the developers on the Monsterverse team are adults. They have their own jobs that they can pay somebody out of pocket to develop the game quicker, and what is actually developing the game quicker are the people that support them on their Ko-fi. All of the support that the Monsterverse developers have been getting from their Ko-fi is helping the game being developed faster, and is helping them to be able to do more inside of the game than what the developers could have done inside of Astro Renaissance. And that's why I'm saying funds does bring a huge factor to play inside of the development of any game, inside of the core reason why a lot of things can be done inside of a game. And in the coming weeks, we will be getting a gameplay trailer of what we can do inside of Monsterverse, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to be all over the place like how Astro Renaissance was, like how you can do quests here, like Astral Quest here, and how you can do like the laser tag thing over here, and oh, you can do this NPC's task over here. Like, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be that disconnected. Everything is going to have a rhyme and a reason for you to do certain things inside of the game. It's not just going to be, oh, here's this random NPC over here, can you do this for me, and then I'll give you a reward. As I would have said close to the beginning of the video, Monsterverse is a story-driven dress-up game that is specifically set to follow a story that you cannot skip. You cannot skip the story, you need to follow through. And with that, the gameplay will follow through as well. So I just want a lot of people to stop thinking so freaking negatively, bro. It's getting on my nerves to see so many people associate the downfall of one game to automatically mean that the other game is just going to end up like that. That's not how it works. So don't act like a genie and think that you know what the outcome of something happens. If the game flops, the game flops. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You don't know the future. Alright, so yeah, that is all I have to say on today's topic. If you guys have anything to add, please put it down in the comments. And yeah, that is all I have to say on today's video. If you guys like the video, make sure to like and subscribe, and see ya.